Welcome to the Class Business Podcast. I'm Chrissy Monaghan, your host, and today we're joined by Richard Hewitt. Richard has over 20 years of experience working in higher education, helping organizations bring in the right people, grow their reach, and manage large budgets. He's worked across recruitment, marketing, and partnerships, and really understands how to spot talent and build strong systems that work. He's also one of the judges for the Class Business Awards. I'm excited to get his take on what makes a standout business. So let's dive in. Richard, it's absolutely amazing to have you here with us on the podcast today. For everyone that's listening online or watching us on YouTube, tell us a bit about you and what have you been doing and what you're doing right now.
Thank you very much. Yeah, lovely to meet you too, Chrissy, and thank you for inviting me to talk to you. My name's Richard. I guess I've been a higher education professional for most of my working life. I've worked in education since I left university in a number of different roles, mostly working in universities and colleges, in the areas of marketing and student recruitment and international student recruitment. And part of my roles that I've done have been admissions. So I review applications from students. I promote the programs that they apply to. I organise scholarship awards as well. So that's kind of my background. It's really something that I fell into after university, as a lot of people do. And it's kind of gone from there.
How did you fall into that? Like, what made you decide to go down that route?
When I first graduated from university, the first job that I had was more of a stopgap. It was a temporary job just to get some experience, and it was at a further education college in Gloucestershire, which I did for about 6 months. Really enjoyed it, and then that just led on to other things. I spent a period of time working at UCAS after that, which is for anybody that doesn't know, the Universities and Colleges Admission Service. And that really opened up, for me, the different aspects, different functions working in higher education. From a student point of view, you don't see all of the things that go on in the background to make things work, like the engine room of the university. So I was very fortunate when I worked at UCAS to have a job working in external relations, which meant my job was essentially an account manager. I used to go out and visit lots of different universities, different functions in universities, from admissions to recruitment to IT services, really understand what their job was and what they did. And from then on, I've moved around within those circles. So worked in a number of different universities, as I mentioned before, mainly in student recruitment and marketing. And I've been very fortunate in as much as one opportunity has presented another, and I've kind of moved through my career like that. I've been fortunate.
This is really fascinating because obviously from a student, I just obviously remember going to, I've been to university, we'll actually get onto the old university thing and see what your thoughts are. But I went to university. I was very fortunate when I did because it was free. I think literally fees came in on the last year of my university stint. And I went through the UCAS process. So, the whole application, finding a course at the time. I can't even remember how I found a course. I think my friend recommended one. Was like, it's Manchester, because I went to Manchester Met University. I was at Crewe in Alsager. And I think she found me a course because she was going to Leeds, because I didn't know anything about this. And I assume that most parents now, when children are looking to go to university, they're more educated about this now. I don't know. How does it work these days?
Absolutely. My experience was very similar, applying to university. I won't say how many years ago it was, so I'll give away my age. But there was very little in the way of advice and guidance and support. You generally had careers advisor at school who would say, oh, this university is good for that course, or this university is good for that course. But nowadays, there's so much information at your fingertips, and part of my role was improving that, was creating content, copywriting for courses, delivering events, and informing students and parents so that they can make the right choices for them. So what I found over the past few years as well is that the students and parents are getting more and more savvy because there's so much information out there. And because more recently, the jobs market is how it is, there's a lot more focus on things like employability and essentially return on investment for students completing a course, because it is expensive. As we mentioned, there isn't that support that we maybe had when we were going through those through education. So students and parents are asking a lot more questions. There's a lot more to help them. So it's changed massively, I would say, in the last 10 to 20 years.
So do the university, right, just so I'm noting, because this is going to be fascinating for everybody listening to this, because they will have children who either are looking to go to university in the future. Are the universities now more competitive? Like, so they're really having to stand out from the crowd with what they offer in terms of courses, etc. So then obviously they can attract the right people. But obviously, like you said, because we now have to pay in England, because we don't have to pay in Scotland, one of the benefits of living in Scotland is that because people are now having to pay for that investment, it's like you said, I suppose they are being more choosy about where their children are going to go. Whereas before it was just like, which one's available? Like, it does a sports course, which is what happened to me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it used to be more of a case of, what I want to do, where my friends are going, that kind of thing, which city or which university's got the nicest campus or nightlife. I think the priorities of students and parents has changed quite a lot now, in the current climate as well, and the costs that are involved. So, and a lot of the work that I used to do was working with international students, so mainly for postgraduate programs. So I was fortunate enough to go and travel to a variety of different countries, meet students, meet parents, tell them a bit about studying in the UK and the different programs. And a lot of the questions that you get asked are about, what this will lead to, what opportunities this will present. So there's a lot more focus now from universities, because it is a very competitive environment, on not only, promoting their programs and offering, new, unique type courses, but also what all of the extracurricular activities that can help boost students' employability whilst they're studying, to kind of prepare them for the scary world of work when they graduate, and put them in a more competitive position, so that they're prepared and they have the right tools to then be successful in their career.
So that's interesting you saying that, because obviously AI is fast. It's already here, and it's only going to get bigger and bigger. What's your thoughts on employability for the future, and actually how much is a course or a qualification actually going to play in the future when everything is going to be AI driven?
It's interesting you should say that, because I think a lot of universities now are, adapting and pivoting towards AI and embracing it rather than trying to push back. I think initially everyone's a little bit scared by AI and think, this is going to kind of change the way that universities operate, how they research, how courses are delivered, and also how students do their research and write essays or complete coursework. So the universities, and a lot of UK universities, have taken the stance to embrace that. And what has come out of that is that a lot of new programs have been developed, which contain things like modules on AI and how to use it, best practice, and so it's kind of future proofing those programs, adapting to the current climate, how industry is changing, how careers are changing, and also the tools that students will need to be successful in the workplace in 10 or 20 years' time. So that's still in its relative infancy, but I think it's like a lot of things. It's one of those things that it's going to be around for a while. So the best thing to do is embrace it and try and instill some best practice and try and prepare those students for the future. Otherwise, they might be a bit behind the competition.
Well, this is the issue, isn't it? Because if you look at people like right now who are like, say, for example, like they're like a website developer. Now, there's already tools now that you can input exactly what you want on your website and it will build it. So that's like already having an effect on those people. And those people that are like website developers, for example, are now having to skill themselves up to probably teach people how they can build their own website because they're basically becoming redundant. And I feel like that's going to happen more and more as more AI comes in. And so I think, parents right now, and I know particularly you've got children, young children, I've got young children as well, 12 and 14. And we're thinking, well, what's future proof? Like what can the bots not do? Like what can we know that we can channel our children into? Like one of my daughters is really into cooking at the minute. And I'm like, okay, chefing, becoming a chef is always going to be a valuable skill. And the bots ain't going to be quite doing that one yet. And so I think, when parents are looking at where to place their investment, where should they funnel their children for the future, I suppose, they are looking at all those different options now. And universities are having to adapt to make sure that they can continue, basically.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think like all businesses as well, you have to kind of keep up with what's happening globally. And it's exactly the same for universities and for students. From a personal point of view, I think when people first started using AI, I was a little bit standoffish about it. But I've become more and more, I've embraced certain tools and I've found that, not all of them work, but some of them really help me in my day-to-day work and also save me a lot of time, which is important. But I think what I've always said, and, when we speak to students, we try and make it, quite clear that particularly when you're applying for a program, yes, it's okay to use AI, but don't just take it word for word. Use it in a selective way. If you're asking it to help you write a personal statement, for example, or help you with your, interview preparation, ensure that yes, you use it, but make it personal. Don't, because people can tell. And I think it's the same probably from your perspective with awards applications. You can read an application and you instantly know, you can pick out keywords and what's AI and what's human written. So it's important to get that balance right.
Yeah, for sure. I think one of the great things about AI is that what you've already said, it speeds up like the saving time and it speeds up things. Also, I also feel like it's removed like the barriers to entry now for like starting a business or even just in education have now lowered because of AI, because it now means that things that you couldn't do in the past, you can use AI to help you accelerate. Like I know for a fact, like when I first started my business, like even though I'm a massive promoter of email marketing, I had this block around writing emails. And it's because it's the whole, like when you said personal statement, I'm like, oh my God, yeah, I remember that. Like having to sit there and physically write things. Whereas now you can voice note into AI and it can just like, get your tone of voice, your language, the way you speak. And you can create those emails and stuff within minutes, whereas before you could spend hours like writing this stuff. And I think it's got a great plus side for people, particularly like my daughter. She's got dyslexia, and I'm like, this is a game changer for her. Like before, you know, it would have been a struggle. Now she's like whipping things out, and it's all in her head. It's just obviously putting it on paper is the difficult part. And so I think, yeah, it's the pros and the cons, isn't it? And it's that balancing act of using it correctly, and I'd probably say ethically as well. Like, you know, using it in the right way. Yeah. So you are a judge for us for the Class Business Awards, which we're really excited about. And we've talked about already, like the use of AI in writing applications. And obviously we've encouraged people to use it for themselves, but use AI to help them shape answers. But from your experience, what are you going to be looking for when you start reading all these applications?
Well, it's something quite close to my heart, really. Looking at applications, I've done it for many years. It's different in a way, in as much as it's students' applications. But from my experience, one role that I had a few years ago was as the recruitment and admissions officer for the MBA program at the University of Birmingham. And part of that role was reviewing applications from MBA candidates from all over the world, from all different backgrounds. They all had something different to say about, you know, the industry that they'd worked in, the qualifications that they had achieved. And it was really interesting kind of getting to know and understand their motivation as to why they've applied, what their career aspirations are, and things like that. And each application is different, and that's what I found kind of most interesting about that. And more recently as well, I managed quite a big scholarship scheme, and that was very similar in as much as, you know, we received applications from all around the world. And part of my role was to ensure fairness, diversity as well across different nationalities and different backgrounds, which was a challenge in itself. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what some of the applicants apply, what their applications look like for your awards. And yeah, I'll have my, you know, admissions kind of hat on just to, you know, be able to go through. But I've always said that it's like comparing apples and pears, really. Like no two candidates are the same, but what you're looking for is something really different that makes them stand out. You know, you're only reading an application, and it's hard unless you've met the person. But it's really an opportunity for somebody to sell themselves and promote, you know, what they do, what they're good at, and any other experiences that they've had that have brought them to this point. So yeah, I'm really excited to get stuck in.
Right. And it must be so hard when you're, you know, it's different from awards to like scholarships, because I assume that there's too much demand for the amount of places. So there is disappointed people there that because they don't get through. That must be difficult, to select those people by just reading what's on paper, because like you said, you're not actually meeting them.
It's really hard actually, because the quality of those applications are really high, and like you say, there's only a small amount of budget available for scholarships. There's a small amount of awards, so you know they're very prestigious, very sought after, and that's part of the challenge. And there's no kind of right or wrong. It's something. You know, when I've worked in those roles, something that we've chopped and changed each year in terms of, you know, how we go about it. How can we make it better from one year to the next? How can we make the whole process more aligned with, you know, what we want, but also to be able to select the best candidates and, you know, empower them really to apply and get the best out of their application. But yeah, I suppose it's similar in a way for awards, because, you know, there can only be one winner for each category, and you get so many good applications that are all very different, and it's being able to sift through those and pick the best or the strongest candidates.
Yeah, and it's why it's so important, isn't it, to articulate everything in the answers and answer the questions like fully, because like you said, the judge is only reading what's on the paper, and they've got a criteria that they need to cross-reference, and if you don't answer the questions, then you're not going to get the marks that you're due. And I've seen it time and time again where there's been amazing business owners who haven't won, and they've obviously been really disappointed. But I've seen it time when I've been like, wow, they should have won. Like, they're really good at what they do, but they clearly haven't written down what they've done. Otherwise, they would have got through that criteria bit. It is difficult, isn't it? It's that you've got to spend some time writing these applications. And that's one of the things I'm trying to tell people now is like, lock in your categories so you can do the training that we've provided you and read the questions, because if you don't prepare, you'll just do a last minute job and then you'll be just disappointed because you'll be kicking yourself saying, I wish I'd given myself enough time to actually do this properly and do it justice.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really important as well, like you say, to not only read over your response, your quest to the questions, but also maybe get somebody else to read through that, because they might pick up on things that you haven't. Because I'm the same when I'm writing something, whether it be something for work, a report, or you're so close to it that you kind of can't see past that, and it's important to get that feedback as well. But yeah, and the other thing I think on that is, and again going back to my university days, looking through applications, it's really important to adapt and target your answers to that particular question, because quite a lot of times you may have applied for example, in your situation, a different award, and you think, oh, I've written a similar answer to something before and I can use that again. But it's really important to really kind of dive into the detail and make sure that that answer is bespoke to that award or to that particular question. That's kind of, that's telling. You can see that somebody's really done their research.
No work on it. Oh, well, Richard, thank you so much for your time today, because it is a really interesting conversation around universities and how it works these days, because I know it's, it'll be on people's minds because they will be in that situation at some point. If people want to connect with you, where are you hanging out right now? Where's the best place to get in touch?
Probably the best place will be my LinkedIn profile. So you can find me by searching for my name. If you want to get in touch, then please do.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you so much for your time today. And I look forward to meeting you on the 10th of October at the National Conference Centre at our bigger day.
Yeah, absolutely. And just as a final kind of word, those days are really exciting. When we offered scholarships, even though I hadn't met those people when they applied, we would do a scholarship reception when they joined the university. And it was really nice to meet those people for the first time and understand a little bit more about them and kind of see the joy on their face when they're actually got their awards and they've got to the end of the process, which is really, really good. But thank you very much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I'm really looking forward to the next few months and seeing the applications and attending the awards.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Chrissy.